What's up, guys? So I don't really remember where I left off with the twin on the video, but basically I got so busy with other projects and other builds. This thing's been neglected. It's time to get this thing together. I've been looking at it. It's been on my desk for a couple months and I keep saying I'll put it together. Today I'm actually going to do it. So let's get started on this project. This is a 200 twin, trying to get the cylinder put on, pressure check it, put the CVT together, and the timing. So let's give it a run. So I'm pretty sure where we left off with this guy was just getting this cylinder set up. So now I need to get this one set up. The issue was I didn't have the right C-clips. So got the right C-clips in it. The other issue is to get to the nut. Let me just carefully move this thing over here. Like so. To access this stud here, I should say, or to get the stud in this guy, I've got to trim this aluminum out. It's kind of a bummer. I wish I would have seen it before. So we've got to trim this out in order to get this nut in here, right? Because it's going to hit the casing. I want to go ahead and get this cylinder on first, and then I'll clearance this side and clearance this side as well with the die grinder. Going to go ahead and take this and tape it off really well. Again, this is a bummer because I wish I would have noticed this before, which I put the whole bike together, so I'm not actually, you know what, the way they probably did is they probably put it all on before the cylinder went on. But I like to be able to take this on and off without taking the cylinder off. So we're gonna go ahead and clearance this guy out, both sides, and then work to get this cylinder put on. Seal it all up really well, hit it with the Honda Bond, show you guys how that goes together. And then once that's together, we'll pressure test it, let it sit for a bit. Make sure it's sealed up well. Obviously this has been sitting for, I don't even know how long anymore, a month and a half. Or longer. It's embarrassing to say, but I know this part's all sealed up well, but we want to make sure this is sealed up good, the cylinder is sealed up, and the exhaust as well, and the intake. Let's go ahead and get this cylinder on, and then we'll get this thing clearanced off. So this is a part where a lot of people make mistakes, and it's really basic, really simple stuff. You're probably sick of hearing me say it, but you guys got to make sure when you line this clip up right here, there's this little pin on this piston. I've said it a million times, okay? If you roll over one way or the other, you're gonna break your ring. Again, and this is probably one of the most common things people do, and they call me and say, hey, why is my kit all beat up? I just spent a bunch of money on. Well, here's the reason why. You roll over this pin, you're gonna break your kit. So what I typically do installing my piston is I hold the sides, and those fit in the recess right in here. Okay, those two side spots in your cylinder, and you can slide it on. You guys will see how easy this slides on. It's really simple. If it doesn't slide on that easy, you got problems, take it back off and start over again. So yeah, let's get this thing put on. Now you see I've got the Honda Bond put on this bike. I already had checked my Squish on the one cylinder, and I know it's gonna be the same on the other because I've got the matching base gaskets, of course. But I'm gonna check it anyways once I get this put on. Once I get the cylinder put on, I'm gonna go ahead and check the Squish as well, just because it's a $8,000 motor. I don't want to blow it up. Now that I have the pistons oiled up nice and good, the cylinder's oiled up, I've hit this with air. I've blown all the air out, of course. I've got the studs in place. I'm just gonna take my fingers, pinch it here like this. I can see that the pin is in the right location. Pinch it in like this. You're just gonna take the cylinder right over the top like so. Just like that. That's as easy as it should be. And then I make sure you use two hands here, slide this over because you don't wanna bang anything up. So take this guy, get your studs aligned. Sometimes it takes a second to get it squared up. There it is. Drops right in, just like so. Once you get that done, you just lock down your cylinder, depending on the type that you have. Most people are gonna have a head on the top, of course, and you're just gonna take your 4 bolts down. Mine are here on the base because this is an external flange cylinder.
Lake City Credit, this is Benjamin Ryan. How may I help you today?
Benjamin Mine, you have made your payments on time. I give you 2% interest rate so you can take vacation with your family, dip your toes in the sand, drink a margarita on the beach, and enjoy low interest rate because you've been a good payment provider. Please give me your Visa card starting with a 4.
What is that you say?
Visa card or MasterCard. Do you want to make home improvements today? We give you good discounts on your windows. Or if you want to take a loved one to Aruba, we will give you a boat and a meal ×2 for your loved one. But you must pass some information first. Please provide your bank account number. Goat meat? Goat meat flavor?
Wireless.
Do you want the goat meat flavor on the chicken wings? We're going to send to you today for only $1.99, but I need your credit card information.
Okay, well, we don't need that. If you talk like that, I cannot talk to you. I'm going to have to hang up the phone.
But this is a one-time offer. You can have vacation and you can have your chicken wings and vacation at the same time and dip your toes in the sand. As you watch the ships float by, you can enjoy a fine drink on the beach with your loved one.
Goodbye, sir.
You can feel the breeze in your toes and feel the wind in your pubes.
Alright guys, as you can very well see, cylinders are on, everything rotates nice and smooth. We've got the cylinders are nice and oiled up there, as you can see. They're snug down, Honda bonded up. So let's go ahead and check Squish on this guy over here to verify it's the same as this one. And if the Squish is good, we're going to go ahead and put our O-rings in here and lock the top end up. Alright, we've got the solder in the cylinders, as you can see. Again, this is something I've explained a million times. You guys are probably getting real sick of hearing it, but I'm going to keep drilling it in. You want to have the solder going the same direction as your pin, because this piston is essentially going to rock back and forth. It can't rock back and forth sideways here. So if you go up and down, you're going to get some deviation on what your measurement's going to be, because as soon as it hits that solder, it's going to rock back one way or the other. So you always want to have it this way, as tight as you can. If you use solder that's too big, it's gonna be really hard to compress it. So you wanna make sure you use a soft solder that's the right size, and on this side as well. We don't give out Squish specifications because that's the job of the shop you're buying from. If you buy it from us, yes, we'll set you up and tell you how to set your Squish and tell you what to set it to. If you're buying it from somebody else, super go fast, quick, wicked scooterparts.net in China or wherever, or wherever you're buying your parts, you're probably not going to get Squish specifications, but ask them, because I don't want to be liable if you guys blow your stuff up if they're not my products. So we go through with all of our customers and we go over these things when you purchase from us. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and check this out. Let's make sure that both these cylinders are identical in the measurement with the Squish.
backlash written on me. Card rubbing on a glass bowl, I've been ballin'. Free my ladies in the counter now, I'm already out. Already on the countdown, I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me. Cold running from the po-po and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. I got the backlash written on me. Card rubbing on a glass bowl, I've been ballin'. Free my ladies in the counter now, I'm already out. Already on the countdown, I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me. Cold running from the po-po and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. Yeah, come and get it, clock it ticking for my riches now. Yeah boy, counting commas in my kitchen now. Yeah right, Colorado ain't my region now. But now I'm headed out there anyhow. Set it out like I'm headed out for the big amount. Shoot it out like I'm heading out for the pictures now. How many people could do it the way I did it now? I really mean it, I feel like the only one around. Whoa, while I'm at it, I ain't kidding, I won't have it. Try and wait for me to slip, I ain't no Bambi. I'll be center in a rink on Joey Sackage. And when you see me, I just came out with the hat trick. Oh God, don't be stressing with the magic. Acting out cause you ain't never seen no rabbits. All them bunnies, they be helping me imagine how I tell them that the man has got the backlash written on me. Card rubbing on a glass bowl, I've been ballin'. Free my ladies in the counter now, I'm already out. Already on the countdown, I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me. Cold running from the po-po and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. I got the backlash written on me. Card rubbing on a glass bowl, I've been ballin'. Free my ladies in the counter now, I'm already out. Already on the countdown, I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me. Cold running from the po-po and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. I got the
All right, cylinders checked out. Squish is right where I want it. It's right where I could actually probably get away with pump fuel, but this thing will never see pump fuel, so it's only gonna get race fuel. It's perfect. Gonna go ahead and tighten these guys down. We're gonna put the caps on, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tape off any holes where dust could get into. So we're gonna tape off this area. We're gonna pop a couple spark plugs in it and tape off the bottom of the exhaust. I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding off those areas for those exhaust flanges to fit. That way we can pressure test this bad boy. And I don't know what I'm gonna put it in yet. So I pumped this thing up here about 10 minutes ago. Hasn't budged at all. I just temporarily took some bolts here, bolted this intake manifold down with a piece of silicone. This is not what I'm gonna use, but I just wanted it here to pressure test it. So it's passed, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart and check the other side, but we have videos on how to use these, and we sell these too, but basically that's verifying that this whole side is tight and sealed up. So it means the head's sealed, the base is sealed, intake manifold, the exhaust, the seals on the inside and here, and on the crank side as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and test the other side. Golden. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I can run these with Banshee cages in the Banshee intake manifold.
Yeah.
The other option, which seems kind of silly,
I do that.
is guys are squeezing 35s onto these. But look at that, it's tiny. That's the whole thing, it's tiny going into a big giant Banshee cage. Like,
doesn't make any
it
sense.
seems ridiculous. So, yeah, I think I'll do the Banshee manifolds. On the intake manifolds, we have our two Scooterswapshop CNC billet intake manifold adapters. What these allow is they allow you to run Banshee RD350 reeds. Guys are running these. Most of them are over in Europe and whatnot. I don't think, maybe one or two people are running them over here, running our products, but basically you just put these guys on. A couple different ways of doing it. You can actually machine the cases and then cut these down in half to drop the reeds down For now, I'm probably just gonna mount these guys up with a piece of rubber just to seal them up and pressure check it. I go back and forth on whether or not I want to do this. I probably should run the Banshee cages and then get some adapters, but the size carbs I run, these adapters are not going to work. So for now, I'll put these guys on with some silicone to seal the top, and then I'll probably order some Banshee reeds for this guy. You're gonna get higher crankcase compression if you or primary compression, I should say, if you cut these down to drop the reeds down lower. But honestly, this motor, the way it sits, or fully maxed out, you know, dialed in perfect with these cut down, imagine you're gonna be in the realm of 65 to 75 wheel horse, which is a massive amount of power for a scooter engine to begin with. So if I lose 3 to 4 wheel horse or something like that because of not cutting these down or not doing something, if I machine these down to the block, I'm locked into those reed cages. So this is a nice option because you can change them out and try different things without having to machine the cases to fit the RD350 reeds. But if I lose 3 to 4 horse, something like that, because I didn't cut these down and move them down in the engine, I'm totally fine with that. I honestly don't think I'm really gonna notice a difference between 3 to 4, maybe even 5 horsepower on this motor when you're talking that much horsepower. I got the twin motor set up for the most part. The ignition was definitely a little bit of a challenge, and this is the PVL system, which I'm not familiar with yet at this point. It's definitely different than what you're gonna find on other bikes because you have, obviously it's a twin. But what's odd about the PVL system, well, a couple different things that's odd about the PVL system is your adjustment. You typically, so you typically adjust this back plate by turning this left and right to get your timing advance and retard. But what's odd about this one, you've got 3 bolts in this back plate here. It took me a little bit to wrap my brain around it, and I'm pretty sure this is how this thing goes. One of these things with motors like this is you don't really have much for documentation to fall back on, which is kind of the bum deal. But that's what makes putting these things together so special when you get it done as well, because you know you're doing something that very few people are doing, and nobody here in the United States. So you're reaching out to guys in Europe and a lot of talented people for advice, and a lot of them say, I don't know, I haven't done it yet. But I'll show you guys. I'll go ahead and pop this plate off. This is the rotor itself here, and this is how you get your dual timing. This is going to be for one of your CDI coil packs and another. But I'll zoom in a little bit closer and kind of show you guys kind of how this works to my understanding, and hopefully it's right. I'll get it timed here probably tomorrow or the next day, and then maybe we can build a stand for it to get this thing fired up pretty soon. When looking at this PVL, you've got one pickup here for one cylinder and one for the other, and if you pop this guy off here, what you've got is one adjustment screw underneath, which is a little bit different, of course, but that's just the way it is. And then your other adjustment screws are here. So when you want to advance your timing or retard it, you're going to loosen these through 3 screws here, and you can turn the whole plate, or you can independently do each one of these. So either way, you're going to kind of do the same thing. But from what I gathered, if I get this guy off here, from what I gathered, that's how this guy goes. It's nice because it has a keyway, so you know that this is always going to be in the right spot. But going back and forth with Miano Cateno about this guy a little bit as we get towards the final stages, but kind of show you guys how the PVL works. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy all locked down. I'm probably not gonna put the cover over it quite yet. Really serves no purpose until we get it timed and dialed in, but you guys kind of see where we're at. This one I didn't film a whole lot of going back and forth because I was scratching my head quite a bit on how this was set up and how it was put together, because this motor has been kind of an ongoing project for me for better part of a year and a half. Just got cut up with other builds and whatnot. So these 2 wires are just going to rattle around like so, tuck them in nice, and those will go to the rest of the ignition system on the bike, which will be tucked in and clean, of course. But cylinders are sealed up. Of course, I have my Banshee cages are going to come tomorrow, or I'm sorry, the Banshee reed cages are coming tomorrow, and I got 2 UPP Racing boots here on the top. Pretty happy with the progress on the motor so far. It's passed the pressure check, which was the nice deal. Gonna go home because I have more stuff at home and grab the pipes, bring the pipes in, and by tomorrow I can have the reed cages on. I can have the boots on and the CNC billet adapters. I can button up the bulk of the gear case back there with my drive gears and bearings and fill it up with oil, pop the Malossi cover on. Monday I have the Malossi cover coming for the CVT. Oh, this thing's heavy. Oh man,